Hello and welcome to our channel, Moore's Coaching. We are Dwayne and Julie Moore, and today we're going to talk about addiction, and more specifically, we're going to talk about drug, alcohol, and porn addiction. So, Dwayne, what actually creates these addictions?
That's a big question that a lot of people would like to know the answer to, I'm sure. Um, Addiction, what creates them is actually not what they are. What most people don't like about the addiction is the actually symptom of the addiction. That's what people get aggravated with. The using a drug or drinking is not the root cause of it. It is the symptom of it that they're using to try to numb what the actual root cause of the addiction is. And so, that's a really, really big key right there.
Yes.
I know in your lifetime, almost anyone that's lived any time has just seen struggles with addiction. I know we talked earlier about it, like food addiction. It's a little bit different than what we're talking about today. We might can touch later on, on some food addictions or some things like that, but specifically more like your alcohol, your drugs, and stuff like that. It goes to something deeper than the symptom. And so that's what I want to talk about today. But first of all, I do want to mention the fact that we always, our tool that we use is the Hartman Value Profile.
Yes.
For someone that maybe hasn't seen any of our other videos, we use something called the Hartman Value Profile. It is actually a philosophical assessment tool. It's not psychological, it's not based on intelligence, it's not based on personality. It actually measures value structure inside humans, and somebody might say, why are the values important? Because values are what we use every day to create decisions, and our consequences and all are based off of these decisions and actions that we make every day. So we can look at something deeper. And so when it gets into the abuse side, and it doesn't matter if it's a drug or alcohol or pornography, they're doing the same thing. Each one of these things, we can call it alcohol addiction, drug addiction, pornography addiction. But the truth of it is, there's something deeper that's broken that we call root cause. The drinking of the alcohol is not the root cause. It is used for something else. And that's what's so important when we start talking about helping people with addictions. Recently, and I know people get frustrated with it, because it's the symptoms they get frustrated with. Most like parents or friends or family, they don't really know what's going on. They just don't like the fact that you're drunk all the time or you're in jail for drugs, The porn one is hidden a lot more. It usually comes out, because you don't normally see people walking down the road displaying their porn addiction. It's not as easy to see as drug addictions and things like that. But what is so important is to understand, to begin to help anybody with any type of addiction, you've got to discover the root cause. If you do not discover the root cause, all you can do is mask the symptoms. I had a guy that I knew. He went into a very, very expensive alcohol treatment program, and the day he got out, I'm talking about the day he got out. He told me that day, he said, I'll quit when I want to quit. But, this program's not going to make me quit or anything like that. And he still has addictions to this problem, to this day. And you're talking about maybe like a 40-year cycle of addiction. But it is the root causes that create these things. And you might say, well, what is a root cause? Hurt,
Yeah.
pain, misunderstanding about something.
Yeah.
And I'll give an example of that. And it's not always big, you know, but here recently, you know, we were working with a young lady, and I think she said it was her 13th trip into the rehab facility. And again, we use the Hartman Value Profile. That's our tool that helps us find the root cause. We know the symptoms.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows the symptoms.
Yeah, it's not hidden.
and you know, the problem is the person that's dealing with the addiction, they are so frustrated with themselves because it's not like they don't want to quit. You know, I tell people, you know, I make light of it, and I said, but you don't ever go to Walmart and find a drug addict doll. You know, kids don't aspire to be a drug addict, you know. And you know, the first time you go out drinking or using a drug, you don't think that's going to be your lifestyle. But the Hartman Value Profile, it gets very deep into things. You know, when we used to work in the prison a lot with it, they called it the window to the soul. It looks at you from like a microscopic view. It can look at you in the uniqueness of 7.4 quadrillionths of uniqueness.
Yeah.
So it turns you into sand when it looks, and in that sand, it can find the root causes of these symptoms that's got everybody so frustrated. But the one thing that I would say is by being able to go to the root cause, we don't have to deal with the 13 years that you've struggled and all of this stuff. We're not trying to be a psychologist where we go in and psychoanalyze you and figure out all. No, the test does the work.
Yeah.
It goes in there and it finds a broken value structure. Yeah. And listen, it's a little complicated to explain.
Yeah, it is.
We could explain it, but we'd have to do video series on it. But the simplicity of what it does is really what allows us to do what we do every day.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to be a mechanic to get my car fixed. I just take it to you, tell you what it's doing, and I don't need you to tell me all that happened to fix it. Just is fixed.
Yeah, because you won't understand it.
You know, I mean, we can.
I won't.
You know, we try. People ask me sometimes just to help people understand. They're like, "Well, what makes it work?" Well, it's the law of enumeration with, you know, finite calculus, and you mix all that together, and that's what pulls out these formulas. But we can't emphasize enough today that the drug addiction and what you see the person going through is not the problem.
That's it. Yeah. And
so why do they develop drug addictions, alcohol addictions, porn addictions? It's very, very simple. I tell people this: if you go and you take an Advil today, is the Advil your problem, or what is the Advil trying to do? Okay, it's trying to cover up a headache that you've got, but there's something causing the headache.
Yeah.
We call it a headache.
Yeah.
But there's something causing the headache.
Yeah.
And that's how drug addictions are. We call it alcoholism. You know, we call it porn addiction. But that's like the headache. So what is underneath all of that causing the addictions? And I'm telling you, that's, if you can't identify the root cause, you may not ever get these things solved. Quick example is, you know, I was recently talking about the girl that we helped that said it was her 13th time in rehab.
Yeah.
You know, and we were sitting there going over her Hartman Value Profile, and what was so interesting about it is I could see in the profile what had happened. And something had happened in her life, because like we said, this is based on value and value structure. And there's a value hierarchy of how things should be valued. Like if you think about it, you should value a baby more than a pile of trash.
Yeah.
You know, if you value a pile of trash more than a baby, there's something that has happened there.
Yeah.
And so by understanding that and seeing these things, then we can understand, there's a root cause. What made that value flip right there? And so with her, the girl on her 13th time, I saw something that had made her devalue people. You know, she really, it was not in the right order.
Yeah.
People should be way more important than her value structure showed. And when I told her, I said, I believe from looking at everything that someone hurt you somewhere a long time ago, because she started struggling at the age of about 14 or 15 with alcohol. And she broke down crying. She went right to the moment where she was sitting at, the day that it happened. And it wasn't like something as big as you think it would be. All it was her family was going through a divorce, and the family, you know, dads and moms were getting remarried and stuff like that, and you know, everybody's starting over, but she's still stuck. Her family's disappearing. And someone said something that devalued somebody that she really loved, and it broke her heart. And nobody fixed it. Nobody knew what to do. But as a young girl under 15 years old, she got hurt. And what it did was it flipped her value system. You know, and it flipped it pretty bad. And so here's the root cause of addictions, okay? So what she started doing is she started drinking to make that feeling ease up. If she could drink enough, that feeling would just kind of dissipate. Problem was, when she sobered back up, the feeling was there smacking her in the face again. So what would she do? Oh, I want some relief from what I feel, so I'm going to go back to what made that feeling go away. The problem, and you know, what we want everybody to understand is the alcohol or the drugs or the pornography, it doesn't make it go away.
No, it doesn't.
You know, and so I said a whole lot to say that because there's people that have been struggling with this for years. And it's kind of hard to believe that sometimes the solution can be so simple, but it can be. If you can find the root cause, then you can get rid of the symptoms. It's just like a fever. Is a fever the problem? It's not. It is a symptom of something that's under there deeper than that, that the body's trying to fight. And I'm telling you, addictions are the same way. Addiction is a type of fever that's saying, I've got something that's messed up that needs attention. But we never look at it that way. You know, so many traditional people, they're trying to get you to stop drinking. You know, it's the alcohol that you are addicted to, and things like that. And there's some truth at some levels to that, but that's way on down the road. You know, you didn't just drink the first day and I'm an alcoholic. But if it masked that feeling and you didn't feel that hurt and that pain that causes you so much struggle, then, you know, you're at high risk of becoming an addict because it felt good when that pain disappeared. So did that make sense? I mean, because it's pretty deep, but yet it is pretty simple.
I agree.
You know, so.
Well, what about as a family member or friend? How can you help someone struggle with addiction?
That is another big question. And I'm going to probably say a couple things here that people don't like. You can throw money at addiction all day long. You know, there's no shortage of people that have put thousands, tens of thousands of dollars trying to help a family member or friend with addiction. Again, depending on the program that someone's in, if they're in a program that is trying to solve the symptoms, there's not enough money to throw at it. You know, and then sometimes trying to solve the symptoms, you know, they'll get to a place where they'll do better for a few months, but it's just willpower, hardcore. It's like me walking past a coconut cake on Thanksgiving Day saying, okay, I'm not going to eat it. But, so, you know, family members, there's a lot of them that are very frustrated right now. I mean, there's going to be some watching this video, they're at the end of the road to the point that, you know, they may already be to the point like they would just rather not even see that person again. I had a friend of ours that used to work with us. He recovered from cocaine addiction. And he said, you know, he didn't have a family member that wanted to see him. He said, it's pretty bad when your own mama tells you she don't want to see you again. But you get frustrated, you know, and you're spending money, and you're hurting your own family trying to help them, you know, and then it looks like to you that they just don't care. You know, they go out there, you spend $20,000 on a program, they come back out, and it's like you don't even care. And it's not that. It's that you can't treat symptoms and solve the root issue. So with the families out there, I would just like for them to take a breath for a minute. You know, just take a breath for a minute and realize that there is a way to help these people. But it's not just trying to solve symptoms. You've got to go to what's causing the fever, what's causing the addiction, what is that moment, what is that place and time that this happened right here. And so I want loved ones, family members, friends, kids, you know, because there's so many kids that are just so sick and tired of watching their family, their parent just, their life being destroyed, you know. And so I just take a breath and just know that there is a way that these people can be helped. But a lot of times, even the person themselves is so frustrated, they almost don't want to hear about another program. Because they're like, you realize I've done this 10 times and I'm in the same place or worse off than I was when I started. And so it's really just everybody take a breath and realize by finding the root cause of the symptoms that there is help. And I think that's the best thing don't give up on them. You know, but also maybe spending that next $20,000-$25,000 on a symptom-driven program might not be the way you need to go. You know, so just things to think about with them.
That's good. Well, let's kind of switch gears a little bit, and can you talk about the spiritual aspect of addiction?
I will. And you know, we're not sitting here trying to make a spiritual video. But we are Christians. And we don't hide that fact. And we even feel like the Hartman Value Profile was something that God put in our hands to help people. And if you read the history of it, the creator of it felt the same way. He felt like it was a tool that God gave him to help people. And that's something that we've tried to do, is we've tried to stay very close to the beliefs of the founder of it, Dr. Robert Hartman. We've tried to stick right into what he believed and felt about it. And that's why we believe in it so much. But I will say this about it. There can be spiritual issues that are creating these symptoms. And you will never, ever fix a spiritual problem with a drug because you cannot medicate a spirit. You know, they're immune to it. They just, and so
don't let you though.
You can throw your life away at it, you know. But you know, I'm sure there's going to be some Christians watching the video, and you know, they're as frustrated as non-Christians about the addictions. And you know, they've spent, you know, nights on the floor praying and stuff like that. But you will never, ever, ever solve a spiritual problem with a medication. Because spiritual things do not respond to medications. And you know, that's probably about all I want to say about it in this video. But just to to the Christians out there that, you know, poured out their money and poured out their prayers and even put them in Christian programs. But when they go and start giving them these medications that's supposed to counteract this medication, you know, the drug they're on, the spirits are just laughing. They're like, we don't respond to that. Just like spirits don't respond to laws.
Yeah.
You don't pass a physical law and think that a spirit says, uh-oh, they passed a law, so we can't do that. They operate in a different realm and different authority, and, you know, they don't respect things like that.
Yeah.
But that's probably, you know, the most I'd like to say about that right there. But still, there's ways to deal with it and identifying, because a lot of times what spirit will do is use that root cause as a doorway to just push all their agendas and all of their pain and all of their hurt. You know, so when we get to the root cause, we can shut that door.
Yeah.
You know, and so the next time they come knocking on it, it's locked. So, but did that make sense?
Yeah. So in closing for today, what would you like to sum up what we talked about today to leave with everybody?
A couple things. First, what's kind of your general thoughts on it? I mean, you've been around this for a while too, and I know you wasn't prepared for the question, but you've seen the work that we do. You've seen us working with the addicts. I would say this: we don't need, once we start working with them, calling them addicts, because we're speaking that over their life.
Yeah.
And you know, I just like to say they used to have an issue.
Yeah.
You know, but what are some of your thoughts?
Well, number one, there is hope, and it doesn't have to be somebody's pure life savings, like you said. With some of the traditional places, you want to help somebody, but you're treating the symptom and not the actual issues there. So there is hope in different ways. Number one, and like you said, we are Christian, and our hope, number one, is in Christ and through prayer. And again, through the Hartman Value Profile, that we believe that is a tool that goes straight to the root issues in a lot of areas of your life, but especially in this addiction. You can go straight to it, drive it, figure it out. And like you said, we've been in meetings with others, you know, about, you know, the addictions, but once we show them their results in the test, they go straight to that point, and it's like, oh. And then that's where you start building and helping, and you can start seeing life come back into that person. And it's really cool to watch. Yeah,
that is something you've picked up on, is that moment that life comes back.
Yeah.
And hope and belief again.
Yeah.
You know, and we see that so many times. And again, you know, I guess I just like to summarize it by saying this, is you were right. You don't have to spend a life savings on this, because, you know, we're result driven.
Yeah.
And one thing about the Hartman Value Profile is it's measurable. So we can not only find the root cause, but we can measure improvement in it and look at it to make sure that we're not leaving that door open.
Yeah.
You know, and so if it's measurable, it's improvable. That's the thing we love so much about the Hartman Value Profile, is everything is improvable. It's not like your personality that's just kind of set, that is who you are. The Hartman Value Profile is a lot like a mechanic doing an analysis on a car. He runs the program on it, and it shows cylinder 6 isn't firing. So naturally, your car's not running right. But your car not running right and jumping is not the problem. Yeah. It's a symptom of a problem.
Yeah, because it's that specific area.
Yeah, and so all you do is, you know, the analysis they ran said number 6 wasn't firing. You change out the spark plug, it fires, the problem solved.
Yeah.
And so that's what's so beautiful about it, is it's measurable. And so what I really want our viewers to just leave this with is, man, there is really hope in this thing. There really is. And, you know, the assessment itself is not that expensive. I mean, you know, the tool itself to take the assessment's under $200. And if you find bad problems within, your value structure, and and this isn't trying to embarrass people and, ooh, look at that, look at this. There's not a really, we don't talk about rights and wrongs. We just talk about areas of improvement. You can be a great athlete and still have areas that you can improve.
I was about to say, and that's not a diss at a good family, even saying, oh, well, you have bad values. No, that doesn't mean you can be taught the perfect, being a perfect home, and then you see a child that's like in addiction, you're like, what happened here? They know better, they do better. There could be something that happened that you have no idea, so it's nothing as a parent of a child who has addiction or a family member, it's nothing that you have done wrong that causes the devaluation that they have, and stuff. It is something that they've happened to them, it let them affect them, that and each person's different. It could affect somebody a different way. You have two of the same kids, something happened to, let's say a divorce. This one's okay, this one it hit harder, and you just can't take it personally, because it's nothing to do with anything you did. It's something to do with how they received, and now they are showing value in that area.
Yeah, I mean, and many times it has happened outside the home.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be something as serious as like rape or being abused.
Yeah.
Sometimes it, like with the young lady on her 13th trip, it was something that was said that devalued somebody she loved, and she carried that all those years with her.
Yeah.
And so, so you're right about that. But guys, there's just hope with this, and you can usually see very clear kind of where the value structure was damaged. And what typically happens is we don't say, oh, somebody said something to you 13 years ago that did this. During the process of explaining, what has been devalued and how things were shifted, what usually happens is that, like Julie said, they have that moment. I mean, they may just start crying. They may stand up and walk around with their hands over their head like, what in the world? But they do generally come to that moment right there saying, and you might say, well, why don't they just do that normally? Why don't they just wake up out of bed? Because everybody's telling them they're a drug addict. They're an alcoholic. So they're trying to fight the drug or fight the alcohol. And they haven't dealt with what happened 10 years ago that shifted that value structure. And guys, I'm telling you, this thing, I don't know, Julie and I were helping with the church the other day, and something reminded me of it. You know how the string of lights would have the bulb out? But if you just put the bulb on it right back in, everything works.
Yeah.
And this works like that so many times, and so, guys, if you've got somebody dealing with addiction, or if you're dealing with addiction and you're frustrated and you're tired of it, reach out to us. You can send us, our information's below the video. I think you can email us, maybe text us. I don't
text, call.
Yeah, I don't know how she has that set up, but listen, you can get in touch with us.
Yeah.
We even have a Facebook page.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah. So guys, I mean, I guess there's a scripture that makes me think about this, and this scripture shocked me in my life. Because I grew up thinking that sin was the problem of everything in my life, that sin, and if I could fix sin, I could fix my life. One day I came across a Bible scripture says that we suffer for a lack of knowledge. And I was like, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
All this pain and suffering is because something I don't know. And that's the way this is. A lot of your pain and suffering is just simply something you don't know. And when we give you knowledge into it, a lot of times you self-correct. We've seen so many people self-correct just from knowing what was going on. But we have different ways of helping. We have self-help books that we have, just different things like that. A lot of times, get in contact with us. If you want to take the assessment, you can take the assessment. We're very good at it. We can look at it and tell you, hey, you can probably coach yourself. It's not too bad. It may be at the point we would say, maybe you need us to help you a little bit get started. But our goal is not to sit here and take all of your money. Our goal is to solve the root problem. That if we solve that and you don't have to spend a penny and you can solve it off of this video, that's fine. We're good with that. But we're going to be doing some more videos that talk about other issues of how things can impact you, because addictions are not the only problems in life. Depression, PTSD, lack of value, just all kinds of things, and we'll be posting more videos about those subjects. But I hope today helps somebody that has been very frustrated and feels like they're at the end of the road and there's no way out. I'm telling you, there is. There absolutely is. And so thank you guys for spending the time with us today. We hope this was informative to you. It's a lot to take in sometimes because it's different. But in the simple side of it, there's help. Find the root problem, and there's ways to help take what the root problem is and put correction around it. And then you can even go back and remeasure it if you want to and see the improvement. So